Good morning from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility on Virginia's eastern shore. We're excited that you're joining us this morning, not just one, but two sounding rocket launches this morning. We just had a poll from the Range Control Center, and we are green or go for launch. And I should say this is actually our third attempt for these two launches. The wind conditions for our first two attempts last week just took us out of the limits, and so we couldn't get off the ground. But we actually moved the window up for this mission this morning to take advantage of wind conditions that were a little bit better for launch. And so we are go for launch. We are tracking a 7 a.m. liftoff for our first rocket, and then our second will follow about 30 minutes after that. These launches today, we're launching two Improved-Orion suborbital sounding rockets. These are certainly among the smaller class of rockets that we launch. It's just a one-stage rocket. They're about 9 feet tall, and but they will be traveling into space. So they're going to go to an altitude of about 71 miles. And of course, space beginning at roughly 62 miles, so just into space on a suborbital trajectory as we test out new technologies for doing experiments in the mesosphere. We'll keep you posted here in the final minutes of the count for our first launch. In the meantime, we're going to switch over to the Range Control Center and listen into the team as we continue on in the final minutes of the count here. But again, we're green, we're go for launch. We're targeting 7 a.m. for the first rocket, an Improved-Orion suborbital sounding rocket. And then from there, we'll recycle. We'll set the clock back at 30 minutes for the second launch, currently planned around 7:30 a.m. But again, 7 a.m. for this first launch. And let's go back to the Range Control Center and listen into the team. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is NASA's Wallops Flight Facility, here today for two sounding rocket missions launching from our facility on Virginia's eastern shore. We are targeting 7 a.m. for liftoff for the first rocket, and then the second will launch about 30 minutes after that. We're testing new technologies for conducting experiments in the mesosphere, which is an area about 31 to 53 miles up in the atmosphere, kind of just above the stratosphere, um, but not quite yet in space. So again, space we typically define as about 62 miles in altitude. We're going to go back to the Range Control Center and listen in on the latest. You can see we have our final launcher settings in, and the team is just setting up right now as we go into the final minutes of the count. Well, it's a beautiful day here on the shore. It's about 50 degrees out there right now, unseasonably warm for a February here on the shore. We are looking good for launch, about 3 minutes out from this first rocket. Our final launcher settings are in. The Improved-Orion is again, it's among the smaller class of rockets we launch from here. It's about 9 feet tall, carrying a payload into space up to an altitude of about 71 miles, flying a suborbital trajectory, following Newton's laws there really well, kind of this nice parabolic trajectory. But just in that time we're in space, maybe 5 minutes or so, is the time we need to conduct our experiment today, which we're doing what we call a technology demonstration of not just the rocket, but these payloads as well to conduct studies in the mesosphere. We'll have 2 launches today planned. The first one, again, getting close to about just 2 minutes before liftoff. Here we go. And we'll go back to the Range Control Center. Okay, we're just 1 minute out from liftoff. I think we're hearing that our range audio may not be coming through, so we'll take you through this here. Okay, we're at T minus 30 seconds. Everything is go. T minus 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have liftoff of our first suborbital sounding rocket, an improved Orion. Beautiful launch. We have our range optics tracking cameras on the rocket now. 30 seconds into flight. As you can see, they're pretty fast. If you blink, you just might miss them. We had a really good launch there. Looking at a nice view of the island here from Pad 0A looking north towards those sounding rocket pads. We just had liftoff of our first of two planned launches today of an improved Orion suborbital sounding rocket. You can see our second rocket right there on the pad in the foreground. Again, just a one-stage rocket, only about 9 feet tall. So definitely among one of the smaller rockets we launch here from our facility. But still quite capable, again, going into space to an altitude of about 71 miles to conduct these technology demonstration missions today. What we're going to do at this time is we have the range audio back up. For those of you listening in, if you can tune into that or listen to that here. So we have about 30 minutes before that next launch. So we're going to pause for now and we'll stay live here. We'll give updates as they come in. But again, at this time, we have our first rocket off on its mission for this technology demonstration mission today. Our second launch planned. Actually, it's about 27 minutes from now. Hopefully those winds continue to cooperate with us today so we can get this second mission off the ground today. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. Again,
SRPO, this is MM.
Go for SRPO.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that there's no real need for us to wait the full 30 minutes if we want to go quicker on 090.
Copy that.
All right, so good feedback there from our mission manager that we may launch this second rocket even sooner. So we will stay tuned to the Range Control Center for an update on when the next T0 will be for this next launch that's planned.
And RSO TD.
Go ahead.
Yeah, are we within wind limits for the second vehicle?
We are currently within limits for the 83 QE.
Copy, sir. Do you have any settings for ROA?
Not yet, still a bit early. We'll be cutting settings for initials here in just a minute.
Copy.
So some good news there. got a report on the wind conditions, and we're within limits for this next launch. Again, that was the challenge for the first two launch attempts, is winds that were just not cooperating. But on this beautiful Eastern Shore morning, the winds are loving us today. We got one rocket off at
Red Earth
7
has
a.m.
splashed.
Oh, and we have confirmation of I think splashdown there. So first mission
And it
complete.
sounds like we have ballistic impact.
Confirm, looks like we have ballistic impact TD, and our hazard times for this particular launch are now released.
Copy. And SRPO, MM, PM, and RSO, we're going to go back to T-minus 10 minutes and holding, or 8.
SRPO is good with 8, and then we can just wait for settings.
Any objections?
No objections here.
None from PM.
Copy. Programmer TD,
TD programmer.
put us at 8 minutes and holding, please.
8 minutes and holding.
All right. Well, we're not going to leave anything for chance here. If the winds are good, let's try and get this second rocket off while the winds are cooperating. So as you heard from our test director, we're going to go to T-minus 8 minutes and hold. And that hold will be just in time, or just enough time rather, to get our next launcher settings for this second mission. And presumably we'll pick up the count as soon as those next settings come in. So hang tight. It looks like, again, going into a T-minus 8 minute hold for this second launch for today. And we'll take it back to the Range Control Center to listen in for some updates. Well, if you're just joining us, frankly, you missed the first launch, but we got a double feature here today, a second launch coming up of an Improved-Orion suborbital sounding rocket. It's just a one-stage rocket, about 9 feet tall. Again, among the smaller rockets we launch from our facility, but again, quite capable. We'll fly into space, get to an altitude of about 71 miles on a mission that'll be just under 10 minutes. So for our second launch today,
And SRPO, we can go to 5 minutes and holding if you like. I want to cut down the chances of our wind variabilities and all that other stuff hitting us.
Any objections to 5?
No, no objections here.
Let's go with 5.
Well, there you have it. We're going to go with 5. We were holding at 8 minutes, but we are going to go ahead and hold at 5 minutes. Again, just cutting down any risk from our winds.
And programmer TD.
TD programmer.
What is that, 5 minutes and holding, please?
5 minutes and holding.
So as you heard there, we're holding at 5 minutes. The winds are cooperating with us right now. Again, that was the issue with our first 2 attempts last week. The winds were just a little bit out of sorts for us to launch these 2 missions today, but things are looking good here in the early hours on Thursday, February 16th. So we're going to look to take advantage of these conditions while we can. We're going to hold at 5 minutes. As soon as our new launcher settings come in, we should be picking up the count and going for this second launch for today.
M&O, RSO on 1.
Go for M&O.
Yes, sir. Just be advised, we're going to go for a nominal QE of 84 degrees for the next launch.
Copy that, standby.
So if you're just joining us, again, welcome from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility. We've 2 launches here today. The first lifted off at 7 a.m. And this second one we're currently holding at T minus 5 minutes. And as soon as we get our launcher settings in, we'll pick up that count. We originally planned that the 2 launches would be 30 minutes apart, but this next one could very well go earlier than that. So stay with us. Again, as soon as those new settings come in, we'll be lifting off or picking up the count rather at T minus 5 minutes. We're glad you're here. There's a lot of cool stuff happening at Wallops every day, and here, starting off your morning, we have 2 suborbital sounding rocket launches. Well, good morning once again. Happy Thursday. We've already had the first of two planned launches here today at NASA's Wallops flight facility. Just a one-stage rocket, what we call an Improved-Orion suborbital sounding rocket. It's just about 9 feet tall. You can see there on this shot, we got our second rocket there on the pad. It's another Improved-Orion sounding rocket. We're holding the clock at T minus 5 minutes, and we're standing by for the final launcher settings before we pick up the count. These experiments today were kind of testing not just the rockets themselves, but also some new payload designs for doing experiments in the mesosphere, which is a part of our atmosphere just above the stratosphere between 31 and 53 miles in altitude. So not in space, but definitely at the upper reaches of our atmosphere before you get into space.
ROA, RSO on 1.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Step 6-7, initial launcher settings for the MRL vehicle on pad 2 for the 12090 vehicle are as follows for a nominal QE of 84 degrees. Settings are azimuth 96.0, elevation 80.5.
Azimuth 96.0, elevation 80.5.
Good copy.
LC ROA.
Go for LC.
Set MRL launcher to preliminary settings and confirm settings. Azimuth 96.0, elevation 80.5.
In work.
And PM, MNO channel 1?
Go for PM.
Yes, sir. All assets confirmed loaded 84 MRL. All assets loaded 84 MRL.
It's PM. That's good copy.
ROA, LC. MRL launcher settings are azimuth 96.0, elevation 80.5.
Copy. Check 6-8.
TD RSO, I can give you step 6-9.
Go for 6-9. Hazard areas are clear. Check 70 as well. Check 71. And ROA, go for 72.
This is NRW 6235, Improved-Orion, launching from Pad 2 MRL. Please stand by for station checks. All stations should announce status as green or red on channel 1. RC?
RC green.
MNO?
MNO is green.
Programmer?
Programmer is green.
LO?
LO is green.
SCO?
SCO is go.
LC?
LC is green.
LPM?
LPM is green.
MM?
MM is green.
SRPO? SRPO green. PM?
PM is green.
So?
RSO is green.
TD?
And TD is green. And once again, all stations are responsible for reviewing the go, no-go criteria listed in the OD. Only stations annotated with an asterisk in the previous step are permitted to call hold. Other sites are called red. Check item 73. And RSO, you got an estimated time before we get the final settings?
Yeah, we're ready to pick up the clock. We have final settings ready. MNO, this is PM.
And all stations stand by for picking up the clock. And programmer, pick it up on the next even minute, please.
Programmer copies. Next even.
ROA PM MNO on channel 1.
Go ahead.
Check step 74. Timing switches for high-speed cameras are enabled.
Copy. Check 74.
PM copies. And ROA, it's RSO, the settings for step 7.5 and 7.6, which are initials again, are the same as provided previously.
ROA copies, so we'll check 7.5 and 7.6.
ROA, RSO.
Go
5
ahead.
minutes and counting.
Yes, ma'am. Step 7.8, final settings for pad 2 MRL for 12.090 vehicle are as follows. Azimuth 96.0, QE of 80.5, no change.
ROA copies, no change. We'll check 7.8 and 7.9.
So if you've been listening in, we've picked up the count. We're about 4.5 minutes to lift off for this second of 2 missions here. We're launching from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility. The final settings are in for the launcher. We did our poll just just about a minute ago. We are green. We are go for launch. All areas are clear. Again, for the second launch for you today. Again, 4 minutes out. We'll pause. We'll listen into the range as we continue to count down here. We're about 3 minutes out from launch today from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility, the second of 2 launches today, suborbital Improved-Orion sounding rocket. As we've been saying, this is just a one-stage rocket that we're launching today. It's about 9 feet tall, definitely among the smaller rockets that we launch here. The largest, of course, being Antares, which is about 130 feet tall, and we launched that from Pad 0A, but this is a kind of smaller suborbital rocket, but small and mighty, really important for science research for NASA, as well as technology demonstration missions, which is what we have here today. This is a technology demonstration mission, not just kind of testing the performance of the launch vehicle, but new payload designs.
2 minutes.
Heard there, we're 2 minutes out from launch. If you're listening to us live, there can sometimes be just a short lag from liftoff to when you might be able to see this outside if you're in the local area.
All this is a poll for readiness to proceed to launch. MM,
go.
SRPO,
SRPO, go.
RSO,
RSO is go.
PM,
PM is go.
TD.
TD's go.
That's what we like to hear, folks. We are go for launch. And we're coming up at the T-minus 1 minute mark.
T-minus 1 minute. $30. 20. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Good job.
9.
Good job, Radar
10.
3. Radar 3 is tracking. All radars are tracking.
We got a good track and on the rocket. Nice shot there from Range Optics. Again, these are fast movers. If you were out there, if you blinked, you might have missed it. But we have it here online, live for you. And
PM, all assets tracking.
PM copies. Great job.
looking good. 2 launches there for you on a Thursday morning, all before 7:30 a.m. Here's just a view looking north on Wallops Island from Pad 0A. These missions today, again, we launched 2 Improved-Orion suborbital sounding rockets. Just one-stage rockets, about 9 feet tall each, going into space to an altitude of 71 miles, flying a suborbital trajectory as we're testing out not just the performance of the launch vehicle, but new payload designs that are going to help us conduct studies in the mesosphere. That's a part of our atmosphere just above the stratosphere, about between 31 and 53 miles. A lot of neat science there as it relates to upper atmospheric chemistry, upper atmospheric winds, and even studies of meteor ablation. But these rockets today, they're actually surplus motors that we get from the military. This gives us a low-cost access to space, which is one of the hallmarks of our programs here at Wallops, not just in sounding rockets, but in all we do. Well, once again, we're glad you joined us today. Stay tuned for our next launches planned from the facility. You can always follow us on social media at NASA Wallops, or go check out our website at www.nasa.gov/Wallops. All of our launch information is there. We do have a busy spring coming up, and again, we're glad you followed us here today, and we hope to see you back for our next launch. Until then, take care, enjoy this day, and thanks for being with us. This is Wallops Control signing off.